Hello, Dr. Lego fans. This is me, Dr. Lego Man, bringing you another episode of the Random Pod. Today, it's X-Men First Class, the film that saved the X-Men franchise after the complete abomination which was X-Men Origins Wolverine. Don't worry, I'm not going to remind you how bad that was. Anyway, if you're not familiar with the premise of the X-Men franchise, it's a group of people who are mutants, which basically means they were born with a special gene that allows them to have special abilities like teleport, turn into diamonds, create and manipulate fire, control metal, absorb energy, and be telepathic and shapeshift, that sort of thing. In the first three films, they were outcasts, basically. The public didn't accept them. They wanted them to be killed because they were scared of what they could do. X-Men First Class, however, is in the 1960s, so this was before that. It basically had to ride on Charles and Eric's view, which was Professor X and Magneto's view of Charles's humans can live in peace with mutants as long as we can show them we're your friends, and Eric's is it's one or the other and we've got to make sure it's us that survive. And that's basically what carries the film. Because a mutant, who's Sebastian Shaw, played by Kevin Bacon, he has the power to absorb energy, and he can take out of his body, so somebody fires a rocket at him, he stamps it on the ground and the explosion goes upstairs onto the soldiers, and say if somebody throws a grenade at him, he can absorb the explosion, touch that person, and then they explode, because he conducts the energy into them. His plan is to absorb a nuclear explosion and let it go and kill all the humans, leaving the mutants to rule. And basically, he is the thing that tempts Eric into becoming Magneto and starting a Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So, it had quite a lot riding on it, and especially it's a X-Men film without Wolverine. Everybody thought that was a crazy idea, but it turns out to be one of the best films of the franchise. And there are only a few problems I have with it. In the first three X-Men films, all the minor mutants like Psylocke, say X-Men Last Stand for example, Psylocke, Spike, Quill, they got speaking parts. Even the guy that can grow limb backs, he got a speaking part. And they were minor mutants. Azazel, who is the red one with the beard and black hair, he can teleport, and he only gets 2 lines of dialogue. Riptide, who can create tornadoes, he doesn't say anything, which is really annoying, because after Matthew or Bryan Singer's way of giving all the minor mutants speaking parts, and one of the ones that plays quite a big role in it, he doesn't say anything at all. And another thing that was the critics thought got really worked up over was the parts of Charles, Eric and Mystique being taken over by James McAvoy, who played Charles Xavier, Michael Fassbender, who played Magneto or Eric, and Jennifer Lawrence, who played Mystique. Now, all of them at this time were relatively unknown, because Jennifer Lawrence the Hunger Games hadn't come out yet, and that would really make Jennifer Lawrence known. And this was sort of Michael Fassbender, all those three really defining roles, because that got them known into the world. And Kevin Bacon, yes, him from the EE adverts, he was in this as well. And he's quite a good villain. I mean, he's the one that takes the whole mutants must live and the humans must die thing instead of Magneto, and he really sells it, because if you had the power to absorb energy and he just thinks, well, if I can get the people, trick the humans into putting the missiles in the right place, because this is during the Cuban Missile Crisis, so they could really fighting over nuclear war as well as survival. And the period backdrop, so this was set in the 1960s during the Cuban Missile Crisis, as I've said. And you really believe this was set in the 1960s compared to the everything to the technology, the clocks, the TV, the clothes. And obviously they managed, it's just a great idea considering you've never had a superhero movie, and Captain America really the only superhero movie set in the 20th century. Obviously, Captain America's First Avenger was set before that in World War II. But after X-Men Origins, which completely derailed the franchise, and I honestly thought, okay, where are we gonna go from here? Thank God, X-Men First Class managed to save the franchise, and the X-Men franchise was one of the first superhero franchises. In fact, it was the first superhero movie in 2000, and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, one of my favourite superhero franchises, actually, because it's dealing with the idea of discrimination, being outcast because you're different, and it's the only superhero franchise that or comic book movie that actually deals with that, because if you're a superhero, you save it, but these people are born with their ability, so you're just gonna get judged for what you are. And that cameo by Hugh Jackman, that is just brilliant. And I really recommend you see the X-Men films. And I will be hopefully will be doing movie reviews of all these films, even X-Men Origins. That'll be negative. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And it is coming up to that time where the top 5 movies, I will be doing my top 5 movies, best and worst of the year, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a random pod out every week during this time. I'll try. And let me know what you think of the X-Men franchise. Put it down in the comments, just down there, below the video. And I'll see you next week for another figure review. And don't worry, my top 5 time machines, which I said I'd do last week, I am working on that. So, hope you enjoyed that. Comment and subscribe. See you next week. And, well, let me know, put your suggestions of what I should do the random pod on next videos on down in the comments as well. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. And I hope you enjoyed my first figure review in ages.